After the assassination attempt of Donald Trump a couple of days ago, the world held its breath and wondered what comes next. What does this mean for the election? How will Donald Trump respond? We're going to take a look at the latest details today, starting with, obviously, Joe Biden, who is the current president of the United States and bitter rival of Donald Trump at the moment, with his statement. This was his second statement about the shooting that took place.
A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We must not go down this road in America. We've traveled before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer, whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, or information and intimidation on election officials, or the kidnapping plot against the sitting governor, or an attempted assassination on Donald Trump. There is no place in America for this kind of violence, for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to be normalized.
Very scolding, of course, interview there, or kind of statement from the current president, Joe Biden. And of course, people have made jokes about Joe Biden over the past few weeks about getting things wrong, calling President Zelensky, President Putin, calling his Vice President Trump, and things like this, getting very confused. But, it's, at the end of the day, politics aside, this is a human being who had that could have easily died a couple of days ago in Pennsylvania. But Donald Trump has made his first appearance since the assassination attempt. This was him walking out yesterday at the time of recording.
Donald J. Trump.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Sing it! God bless the USA.
Now, I'm incredibly unsurprised that his next public appearance that was planned to be made was made inside a stadium where, of course, it can be a lot tighter. Security regulations, you can't get vantage points that can't be, basically off the back of everything. He is a high priority target right now, and it's impossible to say that the shooter acted alone, so of course this was a very safe thing to do from the Secret Service.
We are here tonight of one purpose, and that is to elect Donald J. Trump as the next president of the United States. He is here tonight to show his courage, his defiance against somebody who tried to kill him. You will not take this man down. He has the courage, the strength, and he will be the next president of the United States. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee.
So yeah, that's basically him and his appearance. He didn't actually speak about it, but I don't think he needed to. I think the fact that he was actually there in person spoke volumes. So of course, after this happened, the world held their breath. Of course, we were all trying to comprehend what had just happened, but as well, the world wondered, what happens next? What happens if Donald Trump comes out? How does he respond? Does he come out and try and rally a nation against the person that did this, against the people that would try and take him down? Does this mean that, you know, we're gonna see some potential civil war, potentially? Could that be the way that this goes? Of course, Donald Trump's been very quiet about the whole thing recently, which has been great. But also, what does that mean for the US election going forward? Now, there has been an interview from Sky News talking about how Donald Trump's assassination attempt has thrown the US election into chaos. Of course, Joe Biden has said that this is not the time for politics. Things need to simmer down first before we can kind of get into that. But let's have a little listen.
The US election has been thrown into chaos after Donald Trump was shot in an attempted assassination at a rally in Pennsylvania.
Had Donald Trump not turned his head at the last moment, we'd be sitting here talking about his death. But for a few millimetres, the world would be a very different place tonight.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Still terrifying scenes.
Now, the assassin was shot dead at the scene. He was later identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks.
Trump survived the assassination attempt, but the attack raises at least 4 key questions that now need to be asked. First and not least of which, is there a leak in the Secret Service? Danica, there's a couple of really interesting things about the events of earlier today. Firstly, how was a sniper able to position himself on a rooftop with clear line of sight just over 100 metres from Donald Trump? Second, how was it that people in the crowd spotted the sniper before anyone from the Secret Service did? And third, how was it that while police tried to find this suspicious individual, who numerous people had pointed out, Trump was allowed to stand on stage and continue speaking? The moment that there was suspicion that something was afoot, Trump should immediately have been removed from the stage. I want to show you an interview that was broadcast earlier with a witness who alerted security services to the fact there was a man on a roof with a gun.
Now, of course, this is the interview with the ginger man on the BBC. We're going to skip over that because that is very well-trodden ground by this point. Of course, we're more interested by this point in, obviously, the leak in the Secret Service, but also the election moving forward.
8 hours in advance to the security services so they can do a proper sweep. So you go, if they're doing these sorts of proper checks, how on earth was this allowed to happen? It's really, really catastrophic, and something here, James, just does not add up. In fact, more questions would be asked after having a look at this vision here of the actual Secret Service snipers on top of the roof. Have a look.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
If you watch that video closely, the sniper got off 5 shots before he was eventually taken out by the Secret Service, which is quite amazing. The New York Post are reporting that law enforcement officials are asking how on earth was the guy able to get off 1 shot, let alone 5, before he was taken out. And again, that video shows that the Secret Service had the gunman in their sights, but waited until he'd fired before they eliminated him. I should point out that Donald Trump, in a statement after the attack, thanked the Secret Service.
Now, obviously, it's not as black and white as that. And what I mean by that is, if you take a look at the roof colour, it was kind of this sand, kind of pale sand colour. And if you look at the clothing that was worn, this was clearly a premeditated thing, because the man, or the shooter, was actually also wearing very similar coloured clothing, which would make him hard to identify on a rooftop at about, I believe it was around 500 feet from the shooter.
for protecting him, as well he would. But there are certainly questions to be asked, and now there's talk of a congressional hearing to find out exactly what went wrong that Trump was able to be shot at from such a close range. As I said, with the Secret Service should have had someone on the roof where the sniper was.
Yeah, but the point is, and a lot of other previous people who've worked for the agency, they've come out and said that the Secret Service would always normally do a sweep of the roofs in and around an area where a rally or an important event would be taking place. So you have to ask, did this individual manage to conceal themselves, conceal a weapon, and then therefore the Secret Service were not alerted to it? I mean, these are all really fundamental questions, but you'd hope that they have answers soon, because there's a long way to go between now and November.
And as I said, most astonishing, how is it that members of the general public were able to point and say there's a gunman on a roof with a rifle before Secret Service or local police were alerted or saw it themselves?
Absolutely. And look, here's the second question that needs to be asked. Donald Trump must surely now be an unbackable favourite, you'd say, to win the November election, but will he live that long? Because seriously, James, his safety is compromised, as we've seen today. Now, my answer to that question would be yes, because now the security around him would be absolutely bolstered. And we know that Donald Trump is not one to hide. He's going to go out there. He's going to say, I'm carrying on because I'm doing the work of the American people.
Now, that is something, of course, that we've seen. I'm going to stop this interview there because, of course, basically they're going to go down a rabbit hole of something that we've already talked about. Based off of the clip that I showed at the start, obviously he was in Milwaukee, I think it was. So he's clearly continuing with his campaign, as most would have expected that he would, because he is a very brazen man. He doesn't fear this kind of thing. Instead, I think he kind of thrives on this level of, not controversy, but on this level of attention, I suppose. You know, he does work well under this pressure, and this is the kind of thing that we've seen time and time again with Donald Trump. This won't stop him. Obviously, we've seen him in an arena, in a stadium, where it is watertight, and the security, no doubt, will be watertight moving forward towards the November elections. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What does this mean for Donald Trump moving forward? What does this mean for the election moving forward? People in America who are watching, what does this mean for your country? And does this make him an undoubtable favourite to win? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'm very intrigued watching it from the outside looking in, because it's huge. It's history in the making. So please let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button if you have found this video informative. Subscribe if you're new. Tick on my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload to the channel. And until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Peace.